In this tutorial, I will show you how to format a data table in LoggerPro once you have your raw data entered. As an example data set, I have 5 data points for the diameters and circumferences of 5 circles. I entered the diameter data in the X column and then the circumference data in the Y column. I need to format each column. To do that, I'm going to double-click the column heading to bring up the Manual Column Options menu. When formatting the name, you should use as few words as possible. This should not be a symbol. For example, my X data is the diameter of the circle, so I should enter diameter, but not D. Short name is the symbol with which LoggerPro will represent your variable. This should be 1 or maybe 2 letters. The drop-down menu to the right will allow you to use Greek letters, subscripts, and superscripts for exponents. For diameter, I'm going to use a capital letter D for the short name. Units is where you will display the units for your variable. Again, we have Greek letters, superscripts, subscripts in the menu on the right, and the units for these measurements are centimeters, so I'm going to enter cm for the units. I will repeat the procedure for the circumference data. The variable name will be circumference. And by the way, variable names are traditionally capitalized. The short name will be a capital letter C. And the units will be centimeters, so I'll enter cm for units. Notice that LoggerPro has now replaced the X and Y labels with the short names for the variables. If you're going to be taking screenshots that are going to be included in a lab report, you may want to make the columns wider, which will cause LoggerPro to display the variable names instead of the short names. Something like this. Generally, you should display data in ascending order according to the independent variable. If you entered the data out of order, LoggerPro can sort it for you. Go to Data and then select Sort Data Set. So Data, Sort Data Set. And here we'll sort it according to diameter, and we'll sort it ascending, which means by increasing values. If you have a third variable that you measured and want to include in the data table, you'll have to add a manual column. In the data menu, click New Manual Column, and then you can edit the data name, short name, and units using the same procedure as for the X and Y columns. If you have a variable that can be calculated from a measured value, then you can add a column as a calculated column. You'll go to the data menu, click New Calculated Column, and for this example, I will have LoggerPro use my diameter data to calculate the radius of each circle. I can enter the name, radius, short name, lowercase r, and units, cm for centimeters, as you would normally. But in a calculated column, you need to enter the math that you'd like LoggerPro to perform for you in the expression box. Because the radius is half of its diameter, I can select the diameter data from the variable columns drop-down menu, and then divide that by 2. And now my data for the radius of all the circles is displayed here. And now we have a nice looking data table.